This NFL Week 12 pregame show edition of the NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is offering new users a $1,000 risk-free bet. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. And we're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Welcome, everyone, to the NFL Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Sunday, November the 26th, NFL Week 12. Sunday games just a little over, or a little less than 3 hours away from kicking off here, and we are here for our pregame show. As usual, we'll go through every single game, the latest injury news, player props, put together our touchdown parlay and our prize picks entry for NFL Week 12. But joining me here to help me break it all down, you guys know him as the voice on the NBA Gambling Podcast, the MLB Gambling Podcast, of course, here on the NFL Gambling Podcast. It's Lante Smith. Lante, what's going on, brother? How you doing this morning?
What's up, man? Doing all right. Yeah, man, looking forward to breaking it down in this holiday weekend with some winners. So, yeah, looking forward to breaking it down with you.
Yeah, I know we already had 4 games in the bag with the Thanksgiving week here, so a little less games to go through here, but it's definitely been I guess exciting so far in our NFL Week 12. I know a lot of injury news and things to get to as far as our player props here. So let's just get right into it, Lante. We'll do the first game here on the board. Let's go over to the AFC North battle. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Currently on Bet365. Let me get back to my screen here. Steelers 2-point favorite, total of 36.5, minus 135 on the money line for the Steelers and plus 115 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, the big news in this game, it's going to be no Joe Burrow for the Cincinnati Bengals for the rest of the season. That'll be Mr. Jake Browning getting the start here for the Cincinnati Bengals. And for the Steelers, Lante, it finally happened. Matt Canada out the door. After 81 years, they fire a coach/coordinator in season. So that kind of tells you, I guess, how significant or how bad things were offensively for the Steelers team. And I think you can say that they're taking this season seriously, obviously, and they're still in the hunt for a playoff spot. I'm not sure if you saw that report, Lonte, what Shefty put out about what was it? Deontay Johnson and who's the player? Mika Fitzpatrick getting into it in the locker room after the loss. Yeah, after the loss against the Cincinnati Bengals, and then Cameron Hayward and TJ Watt had to step in and cool things down and kind of be the leaders of the team and say, hey, we got to keep our focus, got to stay together. So let's see how they respond in this game here. But let's start with our player props in this game here. Lante, what do you like in this game?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I got nothing in this game. I don't know what to expect with the backup quarterback for Cincinnati. I mean, I would expect him to be able to get the ball to Chase, but he was. I mean, obviously coming in off the bench at a rare time where you didn't have any practice time, and that's always hard. But I mean, I didn't see anything that moved me in this matchup or with the Bengals. And then we have on the Pittsburgh side, got a new play caller. Interested to see how they do. Are they going to be more rush heavy? Is Kenny Pickett actually going to complete a pass outside the numbers, or like I don't have a good feel for the game overall. So I'm probably just going to pass. If I had to play something, I would obviously look at Chase, being that he's a number one guy, and I mean he's the easiest person to get the ball to for this Cincinnati offense. On the Pittsburgh side, I mean, I would expect more, just as much Jaylen Warren as we saw last year. We saw his Najee snap share go down. He actually looked better and more effective, getting less work and not really starting off the game. So yeah, I would look at some Jaylen Warren stuff and also some Jamar Chase stuff, but I don't have a good feel for anything in this game at all.
Yeah, I know Sean and I gave out the ladder for Kenny Pickett for his rushing yards in this game. The Bengals are allowing the most rushing yards to the quarterback position this season. Right now, that number is at 9.5. But again, this was a ladder that we that Sean and I gave out on VSiN on Friday night. That number for his regular prop is at 9.5 minus 120. But then again, if you want to ladder that up and have some fun with it, that is, let me see, I'm trying to pull up the exact numbers here. So 25 plus gets you plus 320, and then 40 plus is 10-1. So not recommending putting full units on those. Just have a little fun. Maybe put some quarter units on that. I think I got to stick with my guy Jalen Warren here, man. I think last week, we read that he was deemed the starter. I think that's going to continue for him. And he has that big breakout ability, right? We saw that last week as well against the Cleveland Browns, who are a very stout defense. But I think this might be a game where we do see Jalen Warren, whether if you want to look at his rushing yards to go over or even his receiving yards to go over in this game. I also did read that they want to get George Pickens more involved, but like you mentioned, Lante, that I think that I want to see what this offense is going to look like post Matt Canada era, and who are the guys that are going to step up and who the new offensive coordinator is going to get involved in the offense. So definitely going to be watching that in this game here for sure. All right, let's get over to the next game here, Lante. Let's go over to the Carolina Panthers. They are visiting the Tennessee Titans in this game. Titans are a 3.5 point favorite here with a money line of minus 180. Total of 36 in this game, plus 160 on the money line for the Carolina Panthers. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, start here with the Carolina Panthers here, the road team. Give me a second as it loads up here. For the Panthers, it's going to be JC Horn was designated to return, but he has officially been ruled out for this game with the hamstring injury. CJ Henderson, cornerback, has a concussion. He's also been ruled out for this game as well. And Hayden Hurd continues to be out as well. He's dealing with a concussion and some other injuries as well on the defense side of the football for the Carolina Panthers. For the Tennessee Titans in this game, I was reading that we were, I should say, possibly going to see the return of Ryan Tannehill, but I do see Will Levis is going to be the starter. But other than that, outside of Treylon Burks here, who's dealing with a concussion, everybody's healthy in this game here, Lante. But let's start with some player props in this game, man. What are you liking?
Yes, I'm gonna go with real heavy on Tennessee. I like the running backs for Tennessee. I like Henry over 69.5 rushing yards. He was a bit banged up with his ankle. I think he took it easy in practice this week. He missed a few days, but he practiced in full, I think Thursday and Friday, or maybe it was just Friday. So he should be better here. Last few weeks, 21 carries, 72 yards, and that's the last two games combined. So Carolina's 24th in rushing yards allowed. They're pretty good against the pass, and I think you might want to, keep the ball out of Will Levis's hands and get the ball to your best player. So I think Henry has a monster game today. I know in the chat talking about anytime touchdowns. Don't hate that at all. And also a little bit of insurance for that. I'm going to go with Tajay Spears rushing yards and receiving yards over 44.5. So just a small hedge in case Henry's a little bit banged up. I think Tajay Spears can step in, catch a couple screen passes, and break a couple runs. 44 yards rushing and receiving. I think he can. That's about 22 yards each, 22, 23 yards each. So I think he's in line for that. Carolina is they're good against the pass, but short passes and running back passes they really struggle with. So I'm going to go with those two players: Henry over 69.5 rushing yards and Spears over 44.5 rushing and receiving.
Yeah, the Panthers this season are allowing 115 yards on the ground this season per game, and they have or opposing teams have ran an average of 25 times per game. Every single team thus far this season against the Panthers has ran the ball at least 20 times. So if you want to take a look at Derrick Henry rush attempts as well, I think it's a good ladder opportunity as well if you want to take this up for Derrick Henry in this game. 69.5, like you mentioned, Lante, but I'll take it a step further in his home games this season, the 4 home games for Derrick Henry, 25 for 80, 22 for 122, 12 for 97, and then 22 for 101. So if you want to take this up to 90, I think this is a possibility definitely for Derrick Henry today. And I think that number is Derrick Henry 90 plus is at plus 175, 100 plus is plus 265 as well. So yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. I want to see what Adam Thielen receptions are because I know you and I talk about this every single week.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty much the only receiver that Bryce Young wants to throw the football to. It's at 6.5 at plus 105. Let's see here. Adam Thielen. The last couple games here, he had 8 receptions last week on 11 targets. 6 for 10 against the Chicago Bears, 5 of 6 for the Colts, 8 of 11 against the Texans, 11 of 13 for the or against the Dolphins. So yeah, I would take a look at it. But again, I feel like if they're going to be trailing this game, that Bryce Young is going to have to throw the football in this game. So don't hate the Adam Thielen props here for this game for the Panthers. All right. Next game, Lante, let's go over to let's get all the ugly games out of the way. We'll go to the Patriots. They are a 3.5-point favorite now. This line has moved in favor of the Patriots. They're visiting the Giants. Let me see here. Yeah, so 3.5 is the number right now. Total in this game is sitting at 34, minus 210 on the money line for the New England Patriots, and plus 175 on the money line for the Giants. This number is actually now up to 4.5. So it seems like sharp money is coming in on the New England Patriots in this game here. So 4.5 is a current number. Looking at the injury reports for both of these teams, to start here with the New England Patriots. For the Patriots, nothing really of significance. Trent Brown, offensive tackle, questionable with an ankle injury. Devontae Parker, wide receiver, dealing with a concussion. He's officially listed as questionable. And that is pretty much it. For the New York Giants in this game, it'll be Tommy DeVito, obviously at the starting quarterback position for the New York Giants. Eric Gray, running back, has been activated with a calf injury. Dexter Lawrence is doubtful here today. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. Also, Darius Slayton is also doubtful here with a neck injury. And then Evan Neal is out with an ankle injury as well. So a couple significant names there, excuse me, for the New York Giants here. Lante, take us with your player props in this game if you have anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 2 of them. One player has 2. I'm gonna go with Stevenson over 13.5 rush attempts and over his rushing yards. I think it's 69.5. I think it was the last time I looked. New York 25th,
62.5.
62. Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. So
Yeah,
25th in rushing yards allowed. I think that both teams will try to keep the ball on the ground. Mac Jones is starting, correct?
Yeah. So for everything I've read, that he officially he did get deemed the starter, but I think all of us can probably agree that he's going to have a very, very short leash.
Right. And with that leash, I don't think they'll allow him to throw a ton here.
Yeah.
I think that they'll be able to run the ball with Stevenson. He's had back-to-back 80-plus yard outings. Last week he had 20 carries for 88 yards. I think they'll be able to try to control the clock, keep Mack in play action, shorten third and short, and let him throw over the middle to Hunter Henry. So I'd like Stevenson over 13.5 rush attempts and over 62. You said 62.5?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 62.5 rushing yards. On the other side, I'm going to go with Saquon under 74 or 70. Yeah, 74.5. I just can't see Belichick letting Saquon, beat him or dominate the game. People think Bill's lost his fastball. He probably has a little bit, but one thing he is going to do is it's an inept team. He's going to take away the best thing that they do. Saquon is obviously the best player for the Giants. He's only faced one good rush defense this year. Well, actually, I mean, one good rush defense twice. He faced the Cowboys, and he went under this number in both. New England still is a top 10 defense versus the run. I think they struggle here. Try to keep DeVito, try to stack the box, make DeVito beat them. So I'm going Saquon under 74.5.
Yeah, I love Ramondre in this game here as well. The Giants have allowed 3 straight opponents to have a combined over 100 plus rushing yards. So Raiders, Jacobs, 26 carries for 98 yards. And then they had Amir Abdullah 2 for 8. So that got them over the 100. Against the Cowboys, they gave up 100 plus rushing yards, 132 to be exact. And then last week against the Washington football teams, Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call them, Brian Robinson, 17 for 73. So I think this might be another ladder opportunity where Ramondre has a big game here today for the rushing attack of the New England Patriots. And if you want to ladder this up, I'm pulling up those numbers right now. So for Ramondre, let's see here. 70 plus is plus 110, 80 plus is plus 170, 90 plus 265, 100 plus is 4-1. And then you can go on from there. So I think this might be a big Ramondre game. Anything else for this game?
That's it.
All right, take a look at the chat here. Yeah, I talked about Derrick Henry. That is pretty much it. All right, let's keep it going here. Let's go over to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are here down in Houston. Take on the Texans. Currently, this line stands in favor of the Jacksonville Jaguars at -1.5. Total of 48 in this game, -125 on the money line for the Jaguars, +105 for the Houston Texans. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tyson Campbell, cornerback, is going to be out for this game. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. Zay Jones, wide receiver, questionable with a knee injury. And Roy Robertson Harris, defensive end, is dealing with an ankle injury, and he is questionable for this game. For the Houston Texans, Dameon Pierce is going to be back for this game, but I do expect Devin Singletary to continue getting most of the carries here. Juice Scruggs, the center, is been activated from a hamstring injury. He's officially listed as questionable for the Texans here. Jimmy Ward is going to be out. Noah Brown is also going to be out for this game as well for the Texans. So keep that in mind here. Lante, player props in this game, man. What are you thinking?
Yeah, one of my favorite ones of the day. We're going Ingram over 44.5 receiving yards. The targets and receptions have been there. He's at the last few games. He's had 9 catches on 13 targets. He just hasn't had a lot of yak. So I think with Zay Jones being back, I think he's going to give it a go today. They run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. They'll put Ingram on the opposite side in the slot. They'll allow him to work in the middle of the field. I think tight ends have performed pretty decent against Houston. So I like Ingram over 44.5 receiving yards. This game was kind of tricky for me as well because I wanted to do something with Singletary and his carries. I wanted to go under his carries, but again, I don't really know what to expect with Pierce being back. How much of that workload is going to be split? I also was looking at some Stroud stuff, but I'm not sure if the game plan is going to be the same. I mean, he said he wants to keep letting it fly. I mean, that's a great way to a great mindset to have. But Jacksonville's defense has been pretty good, so I'm interested to see how that goes. Maybe look at Trevor Lawrence rushing yards. He's been running the ball a decent amount over the past few weeks, getting healthier with that leg, and also maybe look at Stroud to throw an interception. It's had 4 in the last 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. 3 against who did they play last week? Arizona. 3 against Arizona. So yeah, I think Jacksonville's defense is a little bit of a step up. So give me Ingram as my favorite receiving yards over 44.5, and I'll take a peek at some other ones. Singletary under rush attempts and Trevor Lawrence over his rushing yards.
Yeah, I really like Travis Etienne in this game, rushing and receiving to go over 90.5. I talked about this on the Beeson show as well that for so many years, T.Y. Hilton would terrorize the Texans. I think that guy has now, the guy that has taken over that spot is Travis Etienne for terrorizing the Texans. So 3 career games thus far this season, Lante, he's had 114 rushing and receiving, 140 rushing and receiving. In the game earlier this season in Jacksonville, he had 138 rushing and receiving against the Texans. So I did play the over 90 and a half, and I also laddered this up as well. Took that to 100 plus in this game. That was currently sitting at, let's see here. Where did I get it? Or is Texans? ETN was plus 125. If you want to take it up to 125, rushing and receiving combined, that's around 3-1 for Travis Etienne. Got to go back to Tank Dell as well. Noah Brown is not going to play in this game for the Texans. And in the 4 games without Noah Brown this season, Tank Dell has really stepped up in those spots. And just putting in context here, 72 receiving yards, 145, 16, 57. And then last week against the Cardinals, he had 8 receptions on 10 targets for 149 receiving yards for Tank Dell. So Also like his anytime touchdown. We'll talk about touchdowns here after we're done going through the games. But right now, the number stands at 63.5 for Tank Dell. I really do like that. And then, like I mentioned, Travis Etienne as well in this game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, let's see here. Next game on the board. Let's go over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are visiting the Indianapolis Colts. In this game, currently the Colts are a 2.5 point home favorite. Total in this game is sitting at 45.5 now. Injury report for both of these teams. For the Indianapolis Colts, let's see here. So Drew Ogletree, tight end, has been ruled out. Juju Brent's cornerback quad injury, he's been ruled out, and Ryan Kelly concussion also has been ruled out, the center for the Indianapolis Colts. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this game, we did see our guy Rachaad White pop up on the injury report on, I believe it was Saturday morning, but he is expected to play in this game. It was more of a precautionary put for him on that injury report. Mike Green, defensive end, is going to be out for this game with a calf injury. Carlton Davis, the third cornerback, is listed questionable. Devin White and Devin White is questionable here as well. And then Jamal Dean and Levante David are also both ruled out for this game. So some significant injuries on the defensive side of the football for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this game. Let's start with the side. Let's start with the player props here, Lante. What are you liking in this game?
You ready to break down the full game here? Yeah, I like Josh Downs over 4.5 receptions and over his receiving yards. I think that was around 43, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I got that wrote down wrong, but I like his receptions a lot. It's at plus money. He's been limited in back-to-back games, but he should be closer to 100% after the bye. Tampa Bay elite versus the run. I think they're top 6, top 7 versus the run, but they struggle on the back end. You mentioned the injuries. And some of those guys are slot, or they cover the slot, and that's where Downs operates at. He's had 4+ catches in 6 of his last 10, and before the injury, he had went over this number in 4 straight games. The receptions, that is. So I think he has a good day operating out of the slot. I don't think that if Indianapolis is smart, they won't try to run the ball a ton. I mean, I know Jonathan Taylor, you want to get the best bang for your buck, but I'm not sure if that's going to be as effective as you want it to be. Maybe get him out in space, look at his receiving yards. So I do like Downs over 4.5 receptions and over his receiving yards. I do like Minshew over 247.5 passing yards. I mean, it just goes hand in hand to what I just said. I think that they can be had. The Tampa Bay defense can be had through the air. He is under 200 in back-to-back games before the bye, but I think that was more so by design. Here, like I said, Tampa Bay's defense being elite, they're 31st in passing yards allowed. So I would look at Minshew to kind of air it out, get Michael Pittman and Josh Downs involved, maybe even get Jonathan Taylor involved with the check downs, maybe put him in the slot a few times. So I like Minshew over 247.5 passing yards, Josh Downs over 4.5 receptions, and his receiving yards over.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite plays of the week. I do like the over in this game. Right now, that's at 45, but I think that's going to be a game where we'll see somebody for the Colts step up, and I agree with you. It's probably Josh Downs in this game. I think this we also give this out as a ladder on the VSiN show, and also gave out Josh Downs' first touchdown in this game at 15-1. Colts at home this season, 4-1 to the over. They're also the Buccaneers are allowing the most receiving yards to that wide receiver position this season are the Buccaneers. And like we mentioned, all the injuries that they are dealing with on the defense side of the football. I just think there's an opportunity where Gardner Minshew has a big game, whether that is going to be Josh Downs, whether it is Alec Pierce. I think it is a Josh Downs game here. So Buccaneers are allowing close to 200 receiving yards to the wide receiver position. So I'm with you on that. Going back to our guy, Rachaad White, we give this out as one of the ladders as well for his, I believe we did his receiving yards in this game. So right now that number, the books have adjusted it now to 29.5 at even money. But again, this is one of our ladders that we did discuss on the VSiN show with myself and Sean. So again, you and I have talked about this a lot for Rashad White this season. And again, I think this is a guy that has that breakout ability and can get this in win one catch, because we've seen him do it numerous times this season for the Buccaneers. And for the Bucks, we know that Baker Mayfield is going to look for Mike Evans, he's going to look for Chris Godwin. If those guys aren't there, it's going to be Rashad White getting the football. And again, also the targets have been been there for him as well this season. So just to put in perspective here, the last 5 games, last week he had 28 receiving yards against the San Francisco 49ers. Prior to that, against Tennessee, the Titans, 47 receiving yards, 46 against the Texans, 70 against the Buffalo Bills, and then 65 against the Atlanta Falcons. So I love Rashad White in this game here. Anything else for this game here, Lante?
No, but you're not worried about him being like banged up or whatever. I like Rashad White too. Always do, but
Yeah, so from what I read, the reports that did come out is let me see if I can find the exact quote from
now the reason why I asked, I saw your tweet, Deshaun, about the
yeah.
ladder, and then I seen the report, and I seen you hit the panic button, so I didn't know what was going on. Maybe some information had surfaced since I last seen that.
Let me see here. Because I know, because I woke up
Because they
Saturday
don't have much
morning.
behind him, right?
They don't, and that's the whole thing here. So let me see if I can find it here real quick. All right, so Buccaneers added running back Rashad White to their injury report on Saturday as questionable for Sunday's game, only as a matter of precaution per
Okay.
source. There's nothing structurally wrong with White's knee. It briefly locked up on Friday, and just to be careful, the Buccaneers added him to the injury report. But he is playing today against the Colts, and in the words of a source, he is fine. So hopefully he is fine. So yeah, get back on. We're still playing the ladder for Rashad White. So hopefully it was just something that was precautionary for him.
Yep. Do the Colts play in the? They play in the
All
dome,
right.
right?
Who, Colts?
The Colts play in the dome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I thought so. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, next game. Let's go to the Falcons and the Saints here. I believe this line has moved as well. New Orleans Saints, they are in Atlanta, take on the Falcons. NFC South battle here. The Saints are a 2-point favorite in this game. And let me go and adjust this here. So money has come in on the Saints in this game. Obviously, the big news for this game was that Derek Carr may not have been playing this game, but he is a full go for the New Orleans Saints. Michael Thomas is going to be out for this game for the New Orleans Saints. Let's see here. And then for other injuries in this game, Marshawn Lattimore, we know he's going to be out for this game. They placed him on the injured reserve with an ankle injury. And that is pretty much it for the Saints. For the Falcons, last time I checked their injury report, it was pretty clean. But let me see here just to double check, because a lot of those guys get ruled out on after the Friday practices if they're going to be playing or not on Sunday. So Matt Collins has been ruled out for this game against the Saints. And we know that it's going to be Desmond Ridder getting the start for the Atlanta Falcons here. So pretty clean for the Atlanta Falcons. Only Matt Collins. Lante, player props in this game, man. What do you got?
Yeah, I like 2, 1 on each side. I'm gonna go with Alvin Kamara over 4.5 receptions. And before, I wish Derek Carr wasn't playing, because that would unlock Chris Olave. I don't know if you watched the second half of that game. Man, he was throwing. I mean, we know what Jameis is about, stretching the field. Man, he was throwing the ball to Olave. Olave had to be elated to have a quarterback who could actually throw the ball over 10 yards. But yeah, I just think that Derek Carr is going to be, check down Charlie here. So I like Alvin Kamara over 4.5 receptions. If you want to play his receiving yards, I don't mind that either. I think he's going to get a ton of volume here. Atlanta is pretty much middle of the pack in both defensive categories as far as defending the rush, defending the pass. They do have a little bit of issues with running backs out of the backfield, which is kind of odd because they have 2 or 3 versatile backs that do the same thing, and they just have trouble stopping it. But they are good at limiting explosive plays. So that could lead to the underneath check down. So I like Alvin Kamara over 4.5 receptions. I'm going with Desmond Ridder under 195.5 passing yards. Do you see anything higher than that?
For
for Ritter
Ritter,
passing
give me a
yards?
second. Yeah, let me check a site that
Yeah,
gives me
it was all over the place. I seen 195.5. I seen 198. I seen 189. So I just want to make sure giving out a fair number.
Desmond Ritter. So 196.5 you can find
Okay, yeah.
out
See,
there.
it's all over the place. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I like him under all those numbers to be honest. New Orleans seventh in pass defense. Atlanta's going to want to control the clock, run the ball. I think. Um, he did have 300 plus in two of his last three games as a starter, but it was against two really bad defenses. I think um, he played Washington twice, and I think the other team was maybe um, Denver whenever they were struggling. So yeah, man, I don't think that he has a big day on the through the air. I think New Orleans pretty much tries to make him beat him, stack the box, make Desmond Ritter beat you, and I don't think he'll be able to do that against Lattimore and those guys. So give me his passing yards under 196.5.
yeah. I didn't have much for this game. I just didn't have a good feel for it. Again, like, I think a lot of people agree about your sentiments about wanting Jameis Winston out there instead of Derek Carr. Having a guy that can actually throw the football. For the Saints. So yeah, I just stayed completely away from this for this game here. All right, so that was the last of the morning games. Let's get over to, I believe I did all of them. Yeah, all right, so let's get over to the Rams and the Arizona Cardinals. In this game, Cardinals are a 2.5 point home underdog in this game. Total sitting at 45, minus 150 on the money line for the Rams, plus 130 for the Cardinals right now as it stands. Injury report for both of these teams. For the Los Angeles Rams, I am seeing uh pretty clean. Quentin Lake, safety, has been ruled out. And that is pretty much it. For the Arizona Cardinals, um, Hollywood Brown heel is listed questionable for this game, but he is expected to play. Jalen Thompson, safety, is considered questionable for the game due to a back injury. And Amari DiMarcardo is expected to suit up with a toe issue, but he is expected to play. So pretty clean for both sides here, Lante. What do you like as far as player props?
Yeah, so I wanted to take a running back here, Kyron Williams, but I don't know how the carries will be distributed because they still have Henderson and was Royce Freeman on the roster, but they
They
ran the
let
ball
Henderson
really.
go.
Oh, they did. Oh, okay, I missed that.
Yeah, they released
Well,
him.
that's
So it's going to be Williams and then Freeman.
oh, okay. So yeah, I'm still kind of torn because I don't know how much work Kyron Williams is gonna have. Last matchup, they finished with 382 total yards, and Kyron and Cup had basically like all of them, like 80% of that. So I'm gonna go with, and instead of going with the running back because of the uncertainty, I'm gonna go with Cooper Cup over 69.5 receiving yards. I know he's a bit banged up, but I think he can get here against his defense, who struggles against wide receiver ones. When they played wide receiver ones, like to the caliber of what Cooper Cup is, well, not to the caliber, but just for sure where we can all agree is a wide receiver one. um, Tank had 5 for 149. Cooper had 5 for 139. Chase had 15 for 192. Ayuk had 6 for 148. The only wide receiver one that didn't perform was CeeDee Lamb, and that was in the game where the Mike McCarthy threw up on himself. He had 4 for 53. So outside of that, you've struggled all a year against wide receiver ones. Cooper Cup had 7 for 149 on 9 targets in that matchup. I think he kind of repeats the process here. 69.5 is a little short here. So I think you want to ladder it up to 100 plus. I don't hate that as well. On the other side, I'm going with McBride over 5.5 receptions and 55.5 receiving yards. So basically 6 for 56 is what we're looking for. He had 4 for 62 in the first meeting with Dobbs. Kyler obviously adds another dynamic to the like scrambling dynamics, so where you can come back to the ball. Two of the last three tight ends that the Rams have faced, Musgrave had 3 for 51. Ferguson had 4 for 42. So decent success. Both of those guys scored touchdowns, by the way. So if you want to, I'll probably throw him in a touchdown parlay. So not a ton of success, but you can tell that they had opportunities to get anything. And I think McBride is going to have a bigger day than both of those guys. So give me McBride over 5.5 receptions, over 55.5 receiving yards.
Um, Yeah, I like Tyler Higbee in this game. I think this was early in the season where I was talking about fading the Cardinals defense against the tight end position. It cooled off a little bit after week 3. Let me pull up the exact numbers here for the tight ends against the Cardinals. So, um, Commanders, we saw week 1, 5 receptions, 60 yards. Logan Thomas had a big week. Uh, 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 Darren Waller, 6 for 76 against the Cardinals. And then Jake Ferguson as well, 5 for 48 in the first 3 weeks. After that, it cooled off a little bit, but it's picked back up a little bit. Mark Andrews had 4 for 40. David Njoku, 4 for 26. Kyle Pitts, 3 for 30. And then Dalton Schultz last week, 2 for 32. So I see Tyler Higbee at 26.5 for his receiving yards. I'll take a look at the over for that. Didn't like much else in this game as far as a Cardinals side. I think I would agree about Trey McBride. He's just been that guy as far as getting targets for the Arizona Cardinals. And also trying to look at Kyler Murray's rushing yards in this game. I think everybody expected him when he did return in that first game for him not to be running the football. But against the Falcons, he had let's see here. Let's go to scrimmage yards. 6 for 33 against the against the Falcons, and last week he had 7 for 51 against the Texans. And I'm just quickly trying to pull up what he has done against the Rams in his career here. Give me a second. Rams. 8, 61, 39, 3, 2, 15, 28. And so nothing that stands out there. So I think I'll skip on that this week. All right. Next game here in the afternoon slate here, Lante, we've got the Cleveland Browns. They are in the Mile High City to take on the Broncos. Currently on Bet365, the Browns are a 1.5 point underdog. Total of 37.5 in this game. Total minus 120. Total of 37.5. Money line minus 125 for the Broncos and plus 105 for the Cleveland Browns. Looking at the injuries in this game, DTR is going to be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Outside of that, let's see here. Anthony Walker Jr., linebacker, is questionable with a hamstring injury. Marquise Goodwin, wide receiver, is in concussion protocol. He's going to be out for this game. And also Denzel Ward has been ruled out for this game here as well for the Cleveland Browns. For the Denver Broncos in this game, let's see here. Dwayne Washington, while running back, is dealing with an illness. He's listed as questionable. PJ Locke, safety, ankle, is also listed questionable for this game as well. So only 2 guys on the injury report right now for the Denver Broncos here, Lante. But what are you looking at as far as player props in this game?
Yeah, I'm looking at Cleveland. I'm looking at both running backs. This is a step down in defenses from Pittsburgh and Baltimore to Denver's defense, who, while improved, is still not the greatest. And I know Pittsburgh wasn't the greatest defense, but it's a big rivalry game, so the familiarity kind of breeds difficulty, no matter if their numbers don't say so. Madison had 18 for 81, who he couldn't get anything going against anybody this whole year, and he ran the ball pretty effective.
Yeah.
James Cook had 12 for 109 versus his Denver defense in the last 2 games. So Cleveland, I think, should be able to run the ball with Hunt and Ford here. Both have been getting equal carries. Actually, I think it's pretty much identical as far as what they've been doing. What I want to see them do more is, what that they haven't done, is use Kareem Hunt in the receiving game. He hasn't had a catch in like 2 of his last 3 games. I really don't understand why they don't have both of those guys on the field. I mean, similar to what Pittsburgh should be doing, putting Najee and Jalen on the field at the same time. I think when they do, they have success because it's more for the defense to prepare for. They don't know what to do. And we all know that Hunt is a pretty decent, receiving back. So I'm gonna trust it here and think that Stefanski gets them out in space with the running game, some check downs and some screens. So I'm gonna go with Hunt rushing and receiving yards over 48.5. I'm gonna go with Ford over 52.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, I like Jerome Ford in this game. I think it's a big game for him. I know he's been struggling a little bit over the past couple weeks here has Jerome Ford. But I think I agree with you that I think it's going to be run heavy here for the Cleveland Browns in this game. It's just really like you mentioned that Denver Broncos have been giving it up on the ground to opposing running backs, at least over the last couple weeks here. So I'm pulling up the exact numbers here right now for the Denver Broncos rush defense. So last week against the Vikings, like you mentioned, 28 attempts on the ground, 154 yards in that game. And then against the Buffalo Bills a couple weeks ago, Latavius Murray, 9 for 68. James Cook, 12 for 109. 3 out of the last 4 weeks have allowed a total of 115 or more rushing yards on the ground. So Packers 115, 179 for the Bills, and then last week the Vikings ran for 154 yards. So I agree with you. I'm on Jerome Ford here over 50.5 on his rushing yards, and also Kareem Hunt. That number is probably in the 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, if he's 48.5, I think he's like 34.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, let's see. Kareem Hunt 39.5. So I think those numbers are starting to creep up a little bit for both of those running backs. All right. Next game on the board here. Let's go over to golly, my screen keeps blanking on me here. Let's go Eagles Bills.
Yeah.
Bills are in Philly to take on the Eagles in this game. Is this a Sunday night game?
No, it's not. It's not. It's just a regular game. They got the Sunday night game is Chargers
Ravens and Chargers. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Bills Eagles right now. The Eagles are a 3-point favorite in this game, total of 48.5. As far as injuries in this game, I'll start here with the Bills side. The Bills. So Dawson Knox is hopeful that he'll return after week 13. So he's not playing this game. So already ruled him out. Dane Jackson, cornerback for the Bills, is going to be out for this game. He has a concussion. And then we already know about the significant injuries that they had on the defensive side of the football. I mean, they are absolutely just decimated right now by injuries. We know that. So nothing really of significance and nothing of that we really didn't already know for the Buffalo Bills as far as defense goes. For the Philadelphia Eagles, Quez Watkins, wide receiver, is been activated. He's dealing with a hamstring issue. And then Justin Evans, safety, won't be activated for this game. Milton Williams is out. Dallas Goedert, we know, is out. And Avonte Maddox may be back for this game, but nothing official yet. So couple guys coming back here for the Philadelphia Eagles here, Lante. But what do you like as far as player props?
Yeah, I love one of my favorite player props of the week. Diggs over 74.5 receiving yards. Has been struggling as of late, 7 for 61 in his last 2 games combined. He should be primed for a big day versus the Philadelphia secondary. If you look on some books, they have receiving leader like we talked about for the day. I think Diggs is a prime candidate to get there. Philadelphia 28th in pass defense. I just think he's primed for a big day against that secondary. They're probably going to try to go more one-on-one because they believe, Bradbury and Slay can match up with him. But I think the scheme that Joe Brady's going to have for Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen is going to lead to a big day for him. So give me over 73.5, actually, his receiving yards for Stephon Diggs. I also like Kincaid over 5.5 receptions. He's had 5+ in 5 straight games. If you look at what tight ends have done receiving wise in the last 3 games, Kelsey has 7, Ferguson has 7, and Logan Thomas has 6. And that's the last 3 tight ends that they played. So I think Kincaid can have a big game. I'm looking for about 7 for 75 here. I think Buffalo's going to go real pass heavy, have Josh Allen throw the ball around about 40, 45 times. So I like Diggs over receiving yards, 73.5, Kincaid over receptions, 5.5. That should be at plus money. And then if you want to play The Diggs ladder up to 100, 125 plus. I think he's prime for a big day. Kincaid, I wouldn't be mad at his receiving yards as well.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned I think I do like Josh Allen pass attempts in this game. That number is 35.5 at -130. So maybe you're able to find a 36.5. You want to play less juice on that. But I mean, like you mentioned, I think that you take a look at what opposing quarterbacks have been doing throwing the football against the Eagles. We know the strength of the defense for the Eagles typically is their rushing attack. I know Isaiah Pacheco had a pretty good game last week against the Eagles on the ground, but last 3 weeks, Sam Howell 52 pass attempts, 44 for Dak Prescott, and 43 for Patrick Mahomes. So I think Josh Allen fits into that category as well. So I think that number is a little conservative here for Josh Allen to throw the football. So I do like his pass attempts to go over in this game. Agree about Diggs. I'm not gonna argue against that one. I think AJ Brown probably returns to AJ Brown form this week as well.
Yeah, I agree
He's
with
cooled
that.
off a little bit. Yeah, a little bit over the past couple weeks here. 66 against the Cowboys. And then last week, he only had 1 reception on 4 targets for 8 yards. So maybe he threw a little bit of a fit again, not getting the football last week against the Chiefs. So I think this might be a spot where you do see AJ Brown get heavily involved in the offense again. All right, Sunday night football here, Lonte. We've got the Los Angeles Chargers. They are hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens currently a 3-point favorite in this game, total of 48. Money line -165 for the Ravens and +145 for the LA Chargers. Looking at the injury report for the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see here. So Odell Beckham Jr. is dealing with a shoulder issue, but he is expected to suit up in this game. Zay Flowers hip issue, but also expected to suit up for this game as well. Marlon Humphrey's cornerback is listed as questionable. He's dealing with a calf injury. Malik Harrison, linebacker, is listed as doubtful. Trent Simpson, linebacker, is out for this game with a concussion. And that is pretty much it for the Baltimore Ravens. For the Chargers, let's see here. For the Chargers, Jalen Guyton, wide receiver, is questionable, but is expected to suit up. He's dealing with a groin injury. Also, Gerald Everett, tight end, is expected to suit up. He's dealing with a chest injury. And Joey Bosa, a linebacker, was put on the IR for the LA Chargers. So more than likely, his season is probably over. Lonte, player props in this game, man. What are you thinking?
I think it's gonna be a big Justin Herbert day, man. I'm going big on Justin Herbert. 15.5 rushing yards over, 251.5 passing yards over. If they want to have success, gonna have to kind of ride on Justin Herbert's back right now to get there. I think that the injuries to the offensive side with Mark Andrews could take some adjusting time for the Ravens. So the defense should come out a little bit better. I know they're missing Bosa, but they got to play better. Even with Bosa, they weren't playing the best. So I think Justin Herbert has a big game here. I don't really love anything else. Maybe Zay Flowers over receptions and over receiving yards, but I don't know how run heavy they're going to be. I mean, you can pretty much do whatever you want on the Chargers defense. So I'm kind of on the fence about the Ravens players, but I do think Justin Herbert is going to have a big day today.
Yeah, I was liking Zay Flowers in this game. The Charger allowing the most passing yards to quarterbacks this season, but I'm not sure how much they're going to actually have Lamar Jackson throw the football in this game. But his current projection right now, as far as passing yards for this game for Lamar Jackson, I think it was around 220. Yeah, sorry, it's up to 233.5 now. Every single quarterback that they have faced this season has gone over this projection except for Justin Fields it was Tyson Badgett at that time. He had 232. So I think I'll put some faith. I'll probably put half a unit on it. Lamar Jackson over on his passing yards. And also the attempts. Every single quarterback except for Ryan Tannehill has gone over 20. I think it was 29.5 for Lamar Jackson here tonight. So if they're smart, they'll probably throw the football, but we know this offense is usually predicated about the run. But yeah, Lamar Jackson over. I love the rushing yards to the Justin Herbert, like you mentioned, and then I think it is also going to be a Zay Flowers game for the Baltimore Ravens. So definitely looking forward to this one here tonight. This one, I know primetime unders have been crushing it this season, but I feel like this might be a one of the games where we may see the total get over the number of 48 in this game, but we'll see. All right, so that is the last of the Sunday games here, Lante. Let's get over.
Oh, we forgot one.
To
Forgot Vegas and KC.
Oh yeah, sorry. Chiefs and Raiders. They are in Vegas this weekend. Chiefs are a 9-point favorite right now with a total of 43, minus 500 on the money line for the Chiefs and plus 375 for the Raiders. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs on the injury report. Miko Hardman was placed on the IR with a thumb injury. Kadarius Toney is going to be out for this game as well with the ankle injury. Jerick McKinnon is also going to be out for this game as well. He's in with a groin injury, so at least the depth of the offense is pretty much going to be out for this game for the Kansas City Chiefs. For the Las Vegas Raiders, let's see here. Max Crosby was listed as doubtful for this game, but he is pushing to play and has a realistic chance of doing so. He's dealing with a knee injury, and I think he also had an illness as well. Roderick, teamer safety, the team activated him off the IR, but he's officially listed as questionable. Marcus Epps, safety, is officially listed as questionable for this game, and Colton Miller, offensive tackle, is also listed as questionable in this game for the Las Vegas Raiders. Player props in this game, Monte. What are you looking at?
Yeah, just like one, which is one of my favorite ones also of the day. I think it's a big bet. Actually, I like two. I like Mahomes over passing yards. I think he's going to be fired up. I think those receivers are going to come out, and they know they cost him the game last week. I think they're going to come out and play really well. But one of the guys who I think is going to play really well against the defense, as he has been all in his whole career, Kelsey over 70.5 receiving yards. The Raiders haven't faced many good tight ends, but when they have, I would say, okay, so they faced Conklin. He had 7 for 70. Bellinger, who is a backup, 3 for 43. Laporta had 8 for 57 and a touchdown, and Musgrave had 6 for 34. So not bad, but none of these guys are what Kelsey is. In his career, he's had 100 receptions, 1,289 yards, and 11 touchdowns in 18 career games. He's under 40 receiving yards in his last 3 matchups against the Raiders. I think they kind of exploit what Vegas doesn't do well, and that's defend the middle of the field. So give me Kelsey over receiving yards, 70.5. I like Mahomes to go bananas here today as well.
I think last time we saw a player that quote unquote cost the game for the Chiefs was Kadarius Toney. And they came out and just like threw the ball to him on the first 3 plays or something like that. Did the Chiefs offense? I think they might just do that with Marcus Valdez-Scantling in this game because again, that everybody saw the big drop that he had that could have won the game for the Chiefs last week against the Eagles. But I think this might be an opportunity for him to get involved early in this game. I'm trying to find his number. It's at 15.5. With all the injuries that they're dealing with on the offensive side, as far as their depth, right? We talked about Miko Hardman, Kadarius Toney as well. I think this might be an opportunity for one of those guys, or at least for MBS to maybe step up and get him involved a little bit early. So maybe look at him. I'm not gonna argue against Travis Kelce. I think he needs to break out sooner rather than later. And I think this might be a game where he does do that for the Chiefs. On the Raiders side, I would probably look at maybe Josh Jacobs to have a big game here, whether you want to go rushing or receiving. I think he's been really the focal point of this offense. In the second half of the season here for the Las Vegas Raiders, trying to pull up his numbers. He's done pretty well against the Chiefs in his career. 123 carries, 574 total yards, 4.7 yards per carry. Last game, he only had 17 for 45 on the ground, but prior to that, 24 of 154. And then earlier in his career, 12 for 99, 17 for 104, 23 of 77. And we saw what DeAndre Swift was able to do last week as well against this team. So I would look at it that way as well. Maybe also his receiving yards as well for Josh Jacobs. But other than that, I didn't have anything else for this game. Arlante, 2 orders of business left here. Let's put together our touchdown parlay, and we'll do our prize pick entry here as well. You want to lead us off with your touchdown scores?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go with. Let me see. My favorite ones. Stephon Diggs.
Like
I like
Josh Downs, right?
Yeah, like Josh Downs.
Okay, so he's plus 270. We'll throw that in there.
I like Stephon Diggs.
Diggs is minus. Oh, sorry, plus 120. Okay.
Kincaid or I would go McBride. What do you think about McBride?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last 2 tight ends they faced, Musgrave and Ferguson have both scored.
Both scored. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll throw them in there. All right, and then
what about Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry's probably like at a minus price. Let me see.
Yeah. And you like Ford? Yeah, I like Ford as well.
Yeah, let me double check. Where is Derrick? Yeah, he's at plus 110. Ford's at plus 190.
Yeah, I like Ford better.
All right, let's throw Ford in there. Or sorry, plus 170. All right.
Yeah,
so Josh Downs, Stephon Diggs, Trey McBride, and Jerome Ford to find the end zone. A little cheaper this week. That's at around 63 to 1. So I feel good about this one here. All right, Lante, let's put together our prize pick entry. Again, if you haven't already signed up with an account at Prize Picks, go to prizepicks.com. Use that promo code SGPN. They'll match your first deposit up to 100% of up to $100. So again, prizepicks.com. Make sure you use that promo code SGPN. All right. Let's see here as it loads up. All right, let's go NFL. All right, Lante, what are we looking at? Give me 2 that you like.
It's 2 of my favorite ones. Kelsey over 70.5. Is it 70.5? Well, I mean higher than 70 or more.
Let's see. Kelsey is at 70.5. Well, we'll take the more on that.
Yeah,
all right, what
I
else?
Like the more on that. A second. I don't want to go too tight end. I'm going Derrick Henry. More than 69.5. Is it 69.5?
Let's see. Derrick Henry.
Frankie Louvu also doubtful for Carolina, the middle linebacker. So that's gonna be big.
72.5, but I think he crushes his number.
Yeah, that's
all right. I am gonna go. I like the pass attempts for Josh Allen here tonight. 36.5. Let's take the more on that. And then I wish they had rushing and receiving combined. I don't. Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. They do. It's at the end.
Yeah. Let me go. I'm going to go Travis Etienne, man. I think, again, if they have it, where's Travis? 92.5 is the number. So I'll take the more on that for Travis Etienne. All right. So that's going to be a power play for us. Those 4 guys. So we're going Travis Kelce more than 70.5 receiving yards, Derrick Henry more than 72.5 rushing yards, Josh Allen more than 36.5 pass attempts, and then Travis Etienne more than 92.5 rushing and receiving yards combined. That $100 entry will get you a nice payout of $1,000. So again, make sure you go to prizepicks.com. Make sure you use that promo code SGPN, first deposit match of up to $100, courtesy of PrizePicks, but only with that promo code SGPN. All right, Lante, that is going to do it for this NFL Week 12. My man, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
That's it, man. Good luck to everybody this week. Ugly slate. It's not the most attractive slate, but still opportunity to make some money, especially through player props.
Yeah. Ugly slate for sure. There are a couple good games here. But again, make sure you guys head over to the SGPN Fantasy Football. They're about to go live for all your questions start and sit for this fantasy week. Again, I know a lot of people are probably making a push for the playoffs here, so definitely tune in with them. They're about to go live here any minute. And we'll be back next week as usual for the NFL Week 12 pregame show for that slate of games. All right, enjoy the games, bet responsibly. Hopefully we put some more money in your pockets. Till then, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off and let it ride.